I had to look it up to see what that is. It's not a very common term here in the States.
No,
So what is a bampot?
no, it's not a common term in the UK. It's a term that people will know in Scotland, and a bampot is a silly person, a stupid person, really, somebody who will be. I mean, I always say if you're on a night out and everybody's having a good time and having a few drinks, there's that one person that takes the fun just a wee bit too far and does something really stupid. Maybe ends up in the back of a police van at the end of the night. That person is a bampot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I see the Alisa Dark name, and I see the that it's based on a character that has a nighttime kind of show reviewing these older movies. So I also saw that it was and you know, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. How much of that Elvira had an influence on it, if any? Because when you look at the character, there's really no similarities. It doesn't look like. So was there any influence from?
Yeah, I think the whole idea that I took from Elvira was the idea of the late night TV host, the hostess, because I wanted to give this character. It's not so much a secret identity, but it's more than one identity, and the idea that she could fight crime, if you want, but what she really does is she polices our world and creatures that come from the other world. So, in other words, mythic creatures and creatures of legend, all based on horror, of course. So they're all like vampires and werewolves and those kind of creatures. And so while she's doing that, I wanted to give her some kind of an identity, her kind of Clark Kent identity, if you will, that would allow her to, in plain sight, get information and have a network that would give her information about what was happening. And I thought YouTube and social media was perfect for that. So she has this persona where she presents old public domain movies on YouTube, and the chat comes on, and it's just your normal kind of Ailsa Dark fans will chat about the movie, and those who are part of the network will put coded messages into the chat, and that's how she picks up on various things that are happening, and that was the idea behind it. So visually, she doesn't look anything like Elvira or any of these kind of hostesses, but I wanted to do something that she's more like a Vampirella type character or something like that. But I wanted to do something that evoked the kind of like 1970s, 1980s kind of horror comics. So so that's essentially the idea behind that hostess look.
Okay, well, in your campaign it says that it talks about Ed Wood. Could you kind of explain who Ed Wood is and what the connection may be?
Yeah, Ed Wood was one of the great auteur directors of his day. At least in his own mind, he was. And he produced and directed some classic movies. I think the one most well known is Plan 9 from Outer Space. And they were, for all intents and purposes, objectively terrible movies. But he directed them thinking they were going to be great. And I think in his mind, and even when he watched them afterwards, they were great. There's a good Tim Burton movie with Johnny Depp, where he plays Ed Wood. It's just called Ed Wood, and it's worth watching if anybody there hasn't seen it. And essentially, Ed Wood, for me, I wanted to have something that was public domain that I could use in the comic, but I also wanted something that I could use themes and characters from later on down the road. So I have an idea beyond this initial campaign of a story that actually features Ed Wood himself in the story. It's set in Hollywood, and it will also feature the late great actor Bela Lugosi, who, if anyone doesn't know, was the original screen Dracula, and he worked with Ed Wood. To explain just how bad Ed Wood's movies are, when he made Plan 9 from Outer Space, Bela Lugosi was cast in the movie, and this was his last movie, and he wasn't in good health, and he actually died before the movie could be completed. So Ed Wood, instead of stopping production and rewriting the whole thing, just decided to replace Bela Lugosi with, I believe it was his dentist or somebody's dentist, and they wore Bela Lugosi's cape, and they just kind of held it up over their face like that so that nobody could see that it wasn't Bela Lugosi, but it was obvious to everybody that it wasn't. So that's the kind of level of his movies. But I just like the whole idea of somebody working down in the trenches outside of the Hollywood system and making those kind of films, which is kind of like it parallels the whole indie comic scene because we're outside the system and that's what we're doing. Hopefully to a better standard than Edward, of course.
Yeah. Hopefully so. We it is something that's this unique, and I think that this is the best time if you're going to get into indie comics. I don't know if you know, but I'm making my first comic, and I think that at this time is the best time to actually get into the indie side of it because it seems like there's a lot of hype for it at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And there's just so much variety out there. I've done the convention scene in Scotland and wider in the UK, and that's one thing. But online, it's a totally different beast. So this is my first campaign. It's just navigating and getting to grips with how to promote online and just kind of get a fan base and get them invested in me and my creation.
Yeah, I think it's a great book. Would you like to look at your campaign
Thank you.
and just kind of go through it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, any questions you want of it, I could talk you through it, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's look at it, and you can talk us through as we look at it.
Okay, cool.
Can you see the screen?
Yep, that's good. This is usually where my StreamYard crashes, but so far so good.
Okay. Okay.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Anybody? Yeah, I've just got a backer about 10 minutes ago. Somebody from Canada. Thank you very much. So it's taking me up to 57 backers now.
So
yeah, the camp. Sorry, what was that?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, the campaign is initially I'd set it low. I set it for like $1,000. I thought this is my first campaign, and the advice I was hearing online was build up your fan base first, if it were. And I thought, well, that takes time. I've got like a full-time job, so I thought I'm just going to throw my first campaign up there and build up a kind of like a readership with this first campaign. If it's small, it didn't really bother me. It would be enough to get the campaign out there and to build on. So I'm quite happy that it's actually gone beyond what I was looking for, and I'm able to kind of use this to hopefully advance and build more campaigns from it. I've learned quite a bit doing it. I've done some things kind of right and some things I think kind of wrong. And the next campaign will be a reflection of that. So it's been really good fun and very interesting and a lot of hard work. So I don't know when you're going live with yours, but it's one of these things. Make sure that you're ready for a lot of long hours online and just kind of trying to build this thing up.
Well, you said you had a full-time job. How do you balance that with your job?
Alcohol and painkillers usually. No, it's one of those things where it's just putting aside a timetable, creating your own timetable, scheduling yourself, and hoping you can meet those schedules, to get work done, and keeping in touch with your backers with updates to let them know, anything that's new and what's coming along, so they know that you haven't just dropped off the edge of the earth and you're actually working on it. So Twitter's really good for that as well, as is Instagram. Yeah. So
did you do all of? So go ahead.
No, go ahead. Ask.
Did you do all of the? Is the entire book created by you, or did you have help or a team to help you with it?
Yeah, no, the entire book is me. The previous comics that I've put together have all been anthology comics, and I've had other people working on them with me. I wanted to do something that was just 100% my work with this, and the idea was that I would tell like an old school 3 or 4 issue miniseries would tell the first story of Ailsa Dark, and this first campaign is the first 2 issues of that miniseries. I've been working on it recently, rejigging the storyline to make it work as 3 issues. So that when I finish this campaign and I start the next campaign, that will be the complete first story or first adventure of Ailsa Dark. I think it's one of the things I've learned from this is that you want to kind of like have storylines that are compact for people. So the next campaign after that will be a standalone graphic novel, which will tell the next adventure of Ailsa Dark. And another reason for doing that is because I am doing all of the work myself, and there's the captain in the chat, hail captain. Because I'm doing all this work myself, I'm doing the writing, the artwork, the colouring, the design of the book, and the lettering. It's kind of all-encompassing and all-consuming, but it's fun. And I wanted the first book that I did to be completely 100% my book. And I'm looking at the older pages now, and I'm going back and I'm actually redrawing some of the stuff in there because the later stuff is so much better in some ways. So yeah, it's hard work, but it's fun as well. You know, I wouldn't do it if I wasn't enjoying it.
It's 72 pages. That's a huge volume of work, I believe. So, congrats on getting it finished is a stepping stone in itself.
Yeah, well, I don't know where I've put it. I think I had it lying around earlier on. I've moved it. I did have the first issue printed, and I sold it at a convention or 3 in the UK last year, and it went well, and I used that to try and get people interested in my IndieGoGo campaign. But what I'm doing here is I'm remastering that first issue as well. So I'm going back and I'm redrawing and changing things that I wasn't particularly happy with because I was working to a really strict deadline to get it printed to go to conventions with. So I used that as well to get feedback. So some reviewers that reviewed it, I got feedback from them. I took that on board, and that's kind of helped me to kind of fine tune the second issue and to make it hopefully that a little bit better. Yeah, that's kind of it's a lot of work. Yeah. In fact, I was just working on it just now. I've got a red face because I'm over my Bacon tablet, and I'm kind of like this, and and I've got all the lights on here. So I've just been drawing a page just now that involves Ailsa Dark putting her hand through one of the bad guys and tearing his heart out. So it's good family fun.
Yeah. Nothing like a good heart ripping out to bring the family together, right?
Exactly. It's kind of like it is. It's
So you're in demand now. How much longer do you have in demand before you just call it and start shipping?
I'm hoping to get the second issue completely done by the end of this month. When I put the campaign up originally last year, I just put down December and picked that as everything been finished, not actually thinking about, it's actually got to be done by then. I'd worked out that I would get it done by then, but again, the first thing you learn is once you start with the actual campaign going live and working in the social media, for the first half of your campaign, once it's up there, that completely takes over. So getting the work done, the creative work done, there's not much time to do that. So you're stuck with having to promote yourself and do that at the same time. So I kind of realised quite quickly it was going to be slightly delayed beyond the time that I'd put up. So for the next campaign, I would be more conservative with that. So I would advise yourself to be conservative with the date that you put up there to have the campaign completed, because I think everybody's going to go at least a month over that. So I've got nearly everything done. And I'm currently working towards getting a stretch goal achieved. So when you look at it on screen here, I don't know what it works out in dollars because the dollar-pound fluctuation changes every day. But I'm looking for £2,000 for the first stretch goal. And when I get to that £2,000, I'm going to put together an old-school 1950 style 3D comic, which will be going to every backer. It will be a kind of like a slightly small format. It's a format with kind of A5 here, which is kind of slightly small format, and it's going to be my other character, the Tatty Bogleman, who is kind of like a Scottish Freddy Krueger, and his story is very evocative of old Hammer movies and the classic Wicker Man. It's very much that style of melodramatic, over-the-top horror. So I'm hoping I'm only a few backers away from having to force myself to convert a whole bunch of pages into 3D. I've done the tests and I know how to do it. So, but I'm looking forward to that, and then anybody who backs it will get 3 comics from that, which is pretty cool.
Also, this isn't a regular size comic. This is the larger magazine size comic.
Yeah, it's A4 we call it, but it's kind of like I've got a video up there, which is the second video that's on the campaign, and it's on my YouTube channel as well, and it compares the size of this comic with an old school kind of American sized comic. So I got one of my Jack Kirby Forever People comics and put it side by side so you could see the actual size. It is considerably larger, and the reason I did that was I'm designing it to work at various different sizes and various different formats, just thinking further on down the line if I wanted to do collections and do things with it. And it's also because I'm used to selling at convention. When you do the slightly larger format, it doesn't cost that much more to produce. So people walk by and your comics just stand out that little bit more from everybody else's, when they're walking down Artist Alley and they're looking at all this stuff. So it's kind of it makes it just a wee bit sexier, I think.
Yeah. So let's get through these. Let's go through these tiers right quick, so we can tell people what to get with each tier. You've got the Dark Deluxe here. So what do you get with the Dark Deluxe?
The Dark Deluxe is you get the first 2 issues of Ailsa Dark, and pretty soon I'm sure you're going to get that Tatty Bogleman 3D comic if you get a few more kind of like backers. But you also get, I'm doing a limited edition print run of, there's an illustration further down you were looking at, which is Ailsa Dark with holding 2 guns. And you get, I've got the Jeekly prints already done for that, and they look gorgeous, and they're really nice kind of art stock. So I'm getting 75 of them printed up, and you'll be able to get one of those signed. You also get an A5 art print of the illustration I did, the black and white illustration, which has got that kind of Escher background with all the steps, and it's got the Tatty Bogleman and Ailsa Dark in it. So you get those 2 prints, and you also get all the digital versions of those. So you'll get digital versions of issue 1 and 2, digital versions of the 3D comic, and you'll also get high-res copies of the artwork for the prints, so you can print them out to your heart's delight if you want in various other ways. Yeah.
Well, that seems like a good deal for $35. It's a lot of stuff.
It's not bad. I'll sign the comics as well, so they'll be signed.
Yes, and let's start digital only. I can kind of guess what you get there, but we just explain it anyway.
You get 2 digital comics, but you also get the digital versions of the stretch goals, so you'll get those as well. You'll have to supply your own 3D specs to read the digital version of the 3D comic, but the whole thing is you'll get like a digital version of the Escher print too, and you'll get a digital version of the actual limited edition print, so you'll get those kind of things. The reason I did the digital was because some people just want to read the comic, they think it looks kind of cool, and also the postage can be a killer for some people, although I've kept it really, really as low as I can keep it, and I think it's pretty good. The postage is a pretty good kind of deal, but I like digital myself, and I think if you're a small kind of like publisher doing your own stuff right now, it's quite helpful to just get your work out there. And even if it ends up getting pirated, at the end of the day, if people look at something that's been pirated and they really like it, they end up buying it. They end up going out there and getting it, So I'm not too worried about that kind of thing either.
I think international shipping is a beast that everybody's trying to figure out exactly what to do with when it comes to physical copies.
Yeah, I think it's not as bad for us sending over there, but for you guys it seems terrible. Yeah, you don't seem to have a particularly good deal with your postal service over there.
We're the tax capital of the world, so. Alisa Dark 1 and 2. It's got
that's like the Dark Deluxe one. It doesn't have the limited edition print, because the prints I'm getting done, they're not not just me printing them out at home in my Canon. They're proper art prints that I've got a printer printing for me. So if you go for the Dark Deluxe, you get that. If you go for the 1 and 2, that's the thing that's missing. You don't get that print. Yeah.
Okay. And then you got the Dark Double, which is just
that's
double.
Just you save on postage if you want to buy one for a friend. Yeah. That's
I got
simple
you.
as that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have the Ailsa Dark 1 and 2 plus the poster. So the poster is an A3 poster, and that's taken from one of the pages from the comic, and it's a page of 2 of my werewolves charging towards the camera, and you'll get that as well. So I've already got 3 people claimed that, so that should be quite nice.
Yep. And we're sold out of the original artwork.
We've got, the first original artwork went to a nice gentleman over, I believe, in Arizona, I believe, and the second one, which I've still to do, that was bought by Peter Gilmore. So thank Peter for that, and I think he bought it because I'm going to have the Tatty Bogo Man in it. So,
well, the artwork looks amazing to me.
Thanks. Yeah,
you did a great job on the cityscape, and it just sets a tone. And here's the Ed Wood kind of.
Yeah. Well, it's set in Glasgow because that's where I'm from. I know Glasgow, and I wanted to set it in a real place that could feel real to people. And it starts in the Necropolis, which is the main big graveyard in Glasgow, and that segues into Plan 9 from Outer Space, most of which is taking place in a film set that is a really badly kind of like created graveyard in it. So I have all these kind of little like nods towards various bits of geek stuff that older geeks will get. But that's the way we introduce Ailsa here. So you see Ailsa in her costume for the character with her purple wig and her fake vampire teeth. And then if you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see her in her actual action gear. This is what she wears when she goes out at night. Her partner,
the one on the most.
Yeah, that's Ailsa Dark. Yeah, she has 2 looks.
Okay.
So one's like the Clark Kent look and one's like the Superman look, And there's also another version of Ailsa that appears in the comic in a kind of like a dreamscape. And she's kind of like well, I can't give away too much about that, but she's kind of like a third version. So there's 3 faces of Ailsa, as it were. But I can't say much more than that because anybody who's backed it, they'll get all that explained to them as they read the comic.
Yeah, you don't have to give any spoilers away. No. I know that's what as a writer, I like to put a lot of like reveals in my book, so I know how it feels to not. And there's always this balance of trying to figure out, how much to give away and how much, to hold back to promote the book. How do you find that balance? Is the golden question, I guess.
I think I've put quite a lot out there, to be honest, and I think when it comes to IndieGoGo and on Twitter and that, it does help. But it's actually quite a complex book because I'm writing the story from 3 different points of view. So if you look at the narration boxes, they change colour depending on who's narrating. So Ailsa Dark narrates some of it. Umair Nawaz, who is our partner in crime, as it were, he's an ex-British cop. He narrates some of it as well. So we see it from his point of view. And there's a third narrator who is very chummy with the reader. We don't know who this third narrator is. And they seem to be the truth teller. They know everybody's point of view. So they can tell us, they can fill in the blanks that Ailsa and Umair don't. So that's been difficult but quite good fun. I wanted it to have a kind of noirish feel to it where you had somebody narrating, and then I kept working on the kind of rule of 3, and so I decided to break everything up into, instead of duality, to break it up into 3 so that things were more complex. And then realised that made everything harder for me, but it's been quite good fun to do.
Yeah, that's the thing. We have these big plans, these big dreams about what we want our book to be, and it becomes something almost unmanageable. But then you have to work just that much harder to get it out. When I started mine, it was supposed to be like one 24-page, like one shot. Now it's grown into 3 volumes. So So Man, the book looks great. I'm glad you were able to talk to me today. I'm glad you gave me
No,
the
that's
time.
great. Thanks very much.
And
Yeah. I hope the things aren't too bad over there with the tornadoes and everything. That sounds, you know, everything's okay.
yeah, yeah, we had. I told you I worked for the power company. We had 7 tornadoes touch the ground, and I've been working all week and trying to get trying to get power back on to people. But um, as you know, with the tornado, it makes a straight path, so it didn't take out too much. A few houses were destroyed, but the people were okay. I think some people over in Alabama, this next state over, I think they had some deaths from them, but uh, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's sad, but tornadoes happen in over here quite often in the South. So,
Yeah.
but I appreciate you talking to me. I appreciate you taking the
Yeah,
time, and
thanks for having me on. I'll no doubt chat to you further on down the line at some point. I'm going to get my own channel up and running quite soon because I don't know if I'm part of CG UK, which are a bunch of reprobates who are based in the United Kingdom who are all creating comics, creating content, and also just people who are fans. We all kind of get together and we stream on a Wednesday evening and do all kinds of shenanigans online. So
yeah, yeah, I watched the episode of it, and they had gotten off on the virtues of werewolves. So at that point I
right.
had to go, but
Yeah,
it's kind of late.
I never made it onto the last episode. I think I was on the first one, but I was working so hard on the actual Ailsa Dark at the time that I didn't contribute much. So that should change in the future. But yeah, they're a good bunch of people, and they're out there and they're promoting everybody's books. And no doubt once your book's out there as well, we'll be helping promote yours too. So
Okay, well, I appreciate it. Let's keep in touch.
okay, cool. Cheers, mate. Thanks very much.
Would you like to go ahead and plug your Twitter handle and your IndieGoGo campaign before you go?
Yeah, the Twitter handle is just like you see on screen there. It's at Crawford_Hazel. And the campaign is Ailsa Dark, Werewolves and Bampots. Bampots in this case are actually flesh-eating ghouls, not idiots. And it's on IndieGoGo. It's in demand. It has a 3D comic that's just about ready to be stretch gold out, and it has an amazing looking Escher inspired print, if I don't say so myself, and some other goodies that you can get. So please give it a look. Thanks.
All right, William. Have a great one.
And you too. Thanks, mate.